All right. And now it is time for our lifestyle segment, our last conversation of the day. Our focus this morning is going to be simply on matters tours and travel business, especially here in Kenya. And part of what we'll be trying to better understand is most especially local tourism. Our guest in studio this morning is Eve Lucky Karitu, who's the co-founder of Dynasty Expeditions. Karibu sana to the show, Eve.
Thank you, Doreen.
All right. Just before we get to the whole idea of local tourism, because again, it's always a conversation anytime we talk about tourism sector in this country.
Yes.
Let's start by first understanding where Dynasty came about and how long you've been in the travel business.
Okay, so my name is Eve Lucky Karitu. I am the CEO and co-founder of Dynasty Expeditions. Dynasty Expeditions came to existence in the year 2020. We've always had a plan to start this business. So from my history, I majored in tourism management, which was part of the background as to what I wanted to do in future, that is start up this travel agency. So we've been in business for about 7 to 8 months now, and it's been a new experience, considering we started the business during a very difficult time in the whole world, the COVID situation. Yes.
Clearly, and we know that tours and travel, just like those in the entertainment space, have also become the one mostly hard hit by especially most of these restriction measures. And we'll be coming to that in a short while.
Okay.
But again, as you said, you've been in the, you have an experience when it comes to travel business.
Yes.
But specifically with your own business, it's been a period of about 8 months.
8 months.
So what do you think qualifies you as a company to organize group trips?
So what qualifies us as a company is first the passion. We have the passion to do this travel business. I will say, as I was mentioning to you before, I will say one of the major things that we've been focusing on during this time, the beginning of the business, it's group travel, that is locally, majorly because of the lockdown that has been happening all over the world. So that was one of the things that we decided to focus on, that is group travel. So what makes us special is, or not special, but qualified, is the passion that we have, the talent of meeting with new people. You see, the group travel is where you bring people with different personalities, different beliefs to a trip where they need to go to a destination. So what we've realized as far the trips that we've organized is not really about the destination, because Kenyans are social people. They love being in social environments, and what a better way to do it than being in travel, because now you see there are no social gatherings, there are no parties with all the restrictions that we have. Yeah. So having these groups, people get to meet, interact, and after the trip, what we've always gotten as feedback is they enjoy the trip even more than seeing the destination. Yeah, so that is I think a major thing that we qualify as. And you
pride in as well.
Yeah, and you pride in as well.
Okay, when you say that organizing such kind of trips is bringing different people together, different personalities together, this means that these are people that do not even know each other.
Yes, they do not know each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what would make me as a person, because I'm imagining if I want to book to perhaps go to Mombasa or Masai Mara or Samburu, what would make me want to book with a traveling company to go as a group as opposed to just wanting to book and go by myself?
Okay, one, there's the networking bit. Okay. You see, when you're a group,
which is now more, which is beyond even the fun.
It is beyond even the fun.
Okay.
The networking bit, you create lifelong friends. You get to hear more views about things. You see, when you do things in groups, or as a team, there's more output out of it. I can give you an example. Okay. We had a trip to Mombasa about 2 weeks ago. It was just a small team of about 10 people who didn't know each other. We just met because of the budget. It was a budget trip, so we were using the SGR. So when we met at the SGR, people didn't know each other. We made the introduction. I can tell you, after the 3 days, 4 nights, people had made great connections. We have activities like going to a Sini Island where you need a group. We had activities like we had a welcoming party where people will interact and all. I can tell you, normally after trips we usually disband like the group WhatsApp or a communication platform that we had. But for this specific trip, people bonded. They became very good friends, because like this is 2 weeks later, people are still conversing in the group saying we want another trip. Even we have suggestions to form it, to have it as a Dynasty team, where we have a kitty. Instead of having a lump sum payment when a trip comes up, we have a kitty where people will top up, put money and travel with the same team. So it's a success story for me, because it's a small society that we've built, and it is very exciting. We get to interact every morning, every evening. People are looking forward to the next trip. They even give us suggestions. So you see, you're not making a trip as per your own knowledge. It's from the customer's feedback, and it makes it more of good quality as compared to just doing your own research and having a trip that you don't really know what people's interests are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you see, just as they say, your network is your net worth. So I mean, if it's just more than fun, then clearly people may want to consider that. Yeah. You talked about that being your success story thus far. Aside from that, what other thing would you say that this has been my success story, being in the travel business? Being in the travel business, as Dynasty Expeditions, you see, the thing is, we've just come into business during a time when COVID has hit the business. So another success story will be sensitizing people that you can actually travel on budget. You can actually travel in Kenya. You can actually travel and pay in installments, and you don't really need to go out of your way or think outside the box to travel. Because I know, as last year, I had a family that never thought they would travel in Kenya, actually. So I reached out, gave a package that was very, very good for them and as per their preference. So you see, my success, so as per that situation, the success that I had was to sensitize more people to travel domestically. You see, before pre-COVID, most Kenyans will not think of traveling domestic. So so that will be a success story that I contributed to promoting domestic travel in Kenya. Yeah. And we'll be coming to the domestic tourism and local tourism in just a short while. Okay. But let's stick on the budget bit just a bit. Okay. You know, when you talk about traveling on a budget, and we always have this notion of you have to save bit by bit. Yeah. But then again, it is not in our culture per se, if I can say, as Africans or as Kenyans, compared to how people in the West will do. That's why you'd hear more travel companies saying that most of our revenue, most of our monies come from foreigners, people outside the country. Why do you feel that is the notion when it comes to us as Kenyans? I think it's just, it's basically from history and from our culture as Kenyans. You see, Kenyans, we believe we will rather save for electronics, rather save to buy land than travel. You just say, when I want to travel, I'll just travel and get the money. But you see, when that time comes, you think of paying a lump sum to just go to a destination for 3 days. You'd rather do something else. It's like, I've had people who will say, I'll come for that trip, I'll come for that trip, 2 months even before we organize the trip. But when the time comes, you see it's like 2 days to the trip. Then you're like, my 5,000 or 10,000 will just go on a day trip. Like that. But you see, if that, we remember when the person saw the trip and saw what we'll go and do, they were very excited. You see, if that person will have just been paying 1,000 bob every week for 2 months, it will not feel like a strain to their pockets. So I think this is something that as Kenyans we need to look into and take travel as a way of life. It is actually, if you from my experience, you see, the money you spend on travel as compared to money you spend on material things, you'll be happier when you spend money on travel, because you have the moments, the photos. Let's say you have 30,000 and you buy a TV. 2 weeks later, you will not even feel that TV, because you learn how to buy another sofa set in the house. You learn to buy something else. But if you travel, there's even that pride of, I've been to Kirita, I've been to Asini Island. It's a memory that will stick in you, and you will be an ambassador to someone, and
it comes with some sense of pride and happiness. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that we need to like change that mentality and begin to embrace and appreciate travel.
Yeah.
All right. Now you also talked about doing it as groups. So on average, it's groups of how many persons that you'd cater for?
Okay, because of COVID, about 10 to 20. Yes, because you see now with the social distancing bit, so we also don't need a very large group that will be hard to manage.
Yeah.
We have the buses that are now capacities at least half, so a group of 10 to 20 people. And about the budget bit, you see, when you travel as a group, let's say we go to the coast or anywhere, we majorly do we take out villas. You see, if you are just the two of you, a villa will cost you like 20 to 25,000 a night. But see, if you are a group, and let's say if you are a group of about 8 people in a 4-bedroom house, you see the cost per night will be very low. So it's a value add when you travel as groups. Yeah.
Okay, so also that is one of the ways in which our viewers can perhaps employ when it comes to traveling on a budget.
Yes.
All right. Now, when we return, we'll be exploring more about local tourism. Just aside from the mentality bit of it, which other ways can we employ as Kenyans to start embracing our domestic or local tourism? All of that on the other side.